Good morning, class. Today we are going to start with lesson number 1 of civics. The name of the lesson is The Need for Laws and the Constitution. The topics that we will be covering in this lesson are the need for law, dowry, our constitution, why is there a need for the constitution, what are the various functions of our constitution, and what do we mean by laws and decent. If you can see this picture is showing a jungle scene. In this jungle scene, the cheetah is attacking the deer because the cheetah is more powerful than a deer. Hence, even in a society, we hear people use the phrase the law of the jungle. The law of the jungle basically denotes a situation of unrest and lack of peace in a society. But the law of the jungle may not be used in a civilized society because in a civilized society we have a systematic code of conduct for all its members. The members are governed by rules which are based on the basic principles of checking the arbitrary exercise of power by anyone and ensuring that there is a fair justice that is being followed. The body of such rules, norms and principles is collectively known as the law of the land. The law of the land ensures the safety of both the citizens and punishment for those who perform any kind of crime. Hence, in a society, if we see that the citizens are following the laws and they are obeying the order of the government, then that society would be a very good society. Next, let us do a small case study of dowry. If you can see this picture is basically showing us a situation wherein the members of the in-laws family is basically harassing the bride. Now, why is there a harassment that is being done? The harassment may be done because the in-laws might not have got any kind of monetary benefit from the daughter's parents. Hence, dowry basically comprises of various money, gifts and property that is given by the bride's family to the groom during marriage. Hence, dowry also acts as a tool of exploitation. To prevent this cause of exploitation, the Dowry Prohibition Act of 1961 was being passed out, and under this act, taking and giving dowry is a crime. Next, let us talk about our constitution. In the need of the law, the constitution plays a vital role in the democratic setup. The constitution includes the previews, principles, provisions, ideals and rules which are essentially rooted in the basic requirement of a government. Hence, the Constitution specifically refers to a body of rules, regulations and provisions that define the fundamental political principles, and it outlines the structure, procedure, powers and duties of a government. The Constitution is also called as the soul of the democracy because the democracy cannot function without the Constitution. It is also a bedrock of a good governance because how to govern or in what manners to govern, everything is basically listed in the Constitution. These are the famous people who were involved in the making of our Indian Constitution. The first picture is of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and as all of you are aware that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is known as the father of the Indian Constitution. He also acted as the chairman of the drafting committee of the Constitution of India. The next picture is of our first President of Independent India, who is Dr. Rajendra Prasad. He was also elected as the President of the Constituent Assembly of India, which prepared the Constitution. this picture, the picture on the right hand side is basically the preamble. What is the preamble? The preamble basically acts as the index to our constitution, and it basically talks about the various values of a constitution. What are the various values of our constitution? Few of them have been listed for you. They are equality, fraternity, sovereignty, socialist, secular, democratic, and liberty. Equality basically means that everyone is equal before law. No one is above or no one is below the law. Sovereignty, on the other hand, means that India is neither a dependence nor a dominion of any other nation. It is an independent state, and with that independent state, it also manages its own foreign affairs. Secularism, on the other hand, means that there is no official religion of India, and all religion in the country enjoy the same equal status. Socialist means that India holds faith in being a social state. This social state aims to end poverty, ignorance, and equality of opportunity. The word republic over here means that the head of the state is elected and it's not a hereditary rule. And the last one, democratic. Democratic means that the government stands for the power of the people. The government is we the people, for the people, and of the people. Next, these are the various functions of our constitution. They are: the constitution lays out certain ideals or principles, and hence it also describes the structure, the nature, and duties of the government in our country. The constitution safeguards the misuse of political power. The constitution also defines the nature of the country's political system. Indian political system is basically based on the rule of universal adult franchise, wherein each one of us have the right to vote. The constitution contains rules which also prevent the discrimination of the majority over the minority. This is done so that the interests of the minorities are not neglected, and that every citizen cannot be discriminated against on the grounds of religion, race, caste, and nature. The Constitution also lays out certain ideals or principles that determine the structure, nature, and duties of the government of our country. Hence, it helps to serve as a set of rules and principles that everyone should respect and they should follow. Next, we come to laws and decency. When there are laws made for the people's welfare and benefit, there is also bound to be a dissent or opposition. A dissent or an opposition may take place when the laws do not reflect the interest of the people. And many a times we have seen that in case there is a protest against those laws, a majority of change has taken place in the law. Hence, let us do a small case study on two ways on how opposition or dissent has helped us to reshape the law. The first one is the Vernacular Press Act. During the time of British rule, there were many laws against which the people expressed their disagreement. One such law was the Vernacular Press Act of 1878. This law basically repressed the freedom of the press. Hence, under this law, the newspapers were censored and they were not being allowed to publish. When the people interfered or when the people protested, this law came, and this law determined that there should be an immediate withdrawal of this law, and that whatever is the people's voice, those voice or those aspirations could be penned down to the people and they could be brought to the local public through the newspapers or magazines. The next case study is of the salt satyagraha. We all are aware that against the opposition of the British for the salt tax, Mahatma Gandhi carried the salt satyagraha. Under this salt satyagraha from Sabarmati Ashram, Gandhi walked to the coast of Dandi where he made law. The main aim of this salt satyagraha was to oppose the imposition tax on salt which was done by the Britishers. The Britishers had sole monopoly over salt, and by defying the salt law, Gandhiji had undertaken the salt satyagraha. The Dandi March or the salt satyagraha drew a worldwide attention towards the Indian independence movement, and hence the salt satyagraha also continued, but in the end the Britishers were forced to remove the salt tax. With this, we basically come to an end of our lesson. This is a small mind map that you could keep. That what are the key features of the Indian Constitution and why is it very important that we study about our Constitution. I hope all of you have liked the video. In case of any doubts, you may get back to me. Thank you and have a nice day.